Good evening, everyone. I'd like to call to order the October 22nd Macomb County Community Mental Health Full Board meeting. Please rise for the pledge. Next is the reading of the mission statement from Lori.
Macomb County Community Mental Health, guided by the values, strengths, and informed choices of the people we serve, provides quality service and promote recovery, community participation, self-sufficiency, and independence.
Thanks, Lori. Next is adoption of the agenda. I'll take a motion to adopt. Motion from Sharita, support from Antoinette. Comments, questions on the agenda? Seeing and hearing none, all in favor say aye. Aye. All opposed? Agenda is adopted. Next item is hearing of the public. Anybody from the public wishing to speak on any item on today's agenda is welcome to come up and speak for a maximum of 5 minutes. Anybody from the public wishing to speak? Okay, seeing none, we'll close the first hearing of the public. There is one more before the end of the meeting. We'll move on to item 5 minutes. I'll take a motion to approve the minutes of the CMH full board meeting of September 24th, 2025. Motion from Megan, support from Sharita. Comments, questions on the minutes? Hearing and seeing none, all in favor say aye. Aye. All opposed? Minutes are adopted. Next is item 6. I'll take a motion to approve the minutes of the CMH program and budget meeting from October 8th, 2025.
Support.
Motion from Megan, support from Lori. Comments, questions on these minutes? Hearing and seeing none, all in favor say aye. Aye. All opposed? Minutes are adopted. Now move on to item 7. I will take a motion to approve items A through D. These were discussed at program and budget.
So moved. Support.
Motion from Lori, support from Antoinette. Are there further comments or questions on these items? Okay, all in favor say aye. Aye. All opposed? Those items are approved. We'll move on to item E. This was a tabled item from last full board, actually. So I'll take a motion to approve fiscal year 25-26 PIHP contract. Motion from Lori, support from Sharita. Tracy, did you have further comments?
Friendly reminder, you read this, we needed time for legal to review it and just further discuss it. You did receive in your package kind of the red line. There's not any. Drew is here. This is more of a satisfaction with what is being presented. And Drew is again here to add anything or answer any questions if you have them.
Thanks, Tracy. Any other questions on the contract? Okay, hearing and seeing none, all in favor say aye. Aye. All opposed? Motion passes. Next is item F. Take a motion to approve AOT grant from MDHHS.
Support.
Motion from Donna, support from Jackie. Helen?
So you may recall that last year we had a grant to do. Okay, sorry. Last year we had the grant to do the alternative treatment orders, and we produced videos and print materials that had different target audiences. So for the individual that may be under the order, for law enforcement, for caregivers or family members, and for hospitals. So we were able to get all that put together, done very well received. Well, the state enjoyed it so much, they said, well, could you help us rebrand this so we could use it statewide? So that's what this next year's grant will really help focus on. We'll do that and help get that put together and out for the rest of the state. And it'll also allow us some additional funds to continue doing some more print material and distributing that.
Thanks, Helen. Any questions, comments for Helen? Megan?
I just wanted to say good job to the entire team for that, because obviously, like we all know, Macomb County leads the way in a lot of things with the state, but that is such a testament. And I know it's probably a lot more work for you guys to do as well, but well worth it. You're all amazing, and your teams.
Thanks, Megan. Anybody else? Okay, hearing and seeing none. All in favor, say aye. Aye. All opposed? Item is approved. Next is item G. Take a motion to approve up to an additional $17,250 to support the completion of the Medicaid verification audit for 2025.
So moved. Support.
Motion from Antoinette, support from Lori. Tony, go ahead.
Yeah, good evening. Apologies, this didn't make it to program and budget. We were waiting on the statement of work from Jefferson Wells. So essentially, these are the same auditors who always do our Medicaid verification audit. The scope of those audits increased this year. We spoke about it here some time ago, but we are auditing all providers this year. In the past, we had alternated in doing some providers one year and some the other. So originally, Jefferson Wells bidded within the scope because the claim number was going to be the same, but what they found is the number of providers obviously has added quite a few hours to the engagement. So they came to me 2 weeks ago, whenever it was, and presented a revised budget for what they believed it would take to complete the audit. The original was about $34,000. I said I would consider maybe half of that because I think there's some contributing factors. Some of it is the larger scope. Some of it is other factors such as they have some newer staff on the audit. So that's what we agreed to. That's what I'm bringing to the board, the additional funding to conclude the audit. As an aside, I've asked them to have a debrief after this audit concludes so we can really understand, you know, what happened this year and what are we going to do to prevent that in the future, to be sure that they staff it and budget accordingly for our audit. So.
Thank you, Tony. Any questions for Tony? I have one. Where do the additional funds for this come from?
The funding for this, I believe, comes out of our local and general.
Thank you, Tony. Seeing no other speakers, all in favor say aye. Aye. All opposed? Motion passes.
Thank you.
Thanks, Tony. Next is item 8. We'll take these one at a time, but I'll take a motion to receive and file items A, B, and C.
So moved. Support.
Motion from Megan, support from Dana. Helen? Helen's going to speak to the first two.
Yes. So I believe it was probably at last month's meeting, you approved the current fiscal year funding for our partnership with Michigan Rehabilitation Services. So that's where we give some mental health money and substance use money, and they're able to specially target some services for our shared population. And so they are able to take our money and draw down about 3.5 times more from federal dollars with our match. And so that really helps promote some extra services beyond what they can do with their normal funding. So we received the reports, and that's what you have here, to give you some information on just a summary of how they use some of those funds. So they do target vocational trainings, assistance, and different services with our adult population, as well as host a summer camp for our aging out youth from transitioning youth into adulthood. And so some of our participants are part of that as well. They have on page 2 of your document, they do kind of give a rundown on their numbers of their goals. And so on many of their goals, they were able to exceed what they were originally anticipating. So they did 138 intakes, and they found 146 what they term eligibles. And they worked on plans for employment with 77 individuals, and were able to have successful employment outcomes with 38. So we know some of our population are wanting to work, and it's a very difficult thing for them. So it's not everybody that goes through will go to completion, But a lot of times without this added support and services, they wouldn't have gotten as far as they did. So that's a brief summary on the mental health project. On the substance use project, they did indicate in the report that they had a 47% decrease in referrals for their substance use project. And they really attributed a lot of that to their own internal staffing and needing to do more promotion and education on the services. And so we're going to be working with them early this year to kind of see, can we help problem solve in any way? Is there anything we need to do to help assist with this project? Because they had about 7 people go through the program, and the year before they had 13. So each year it keeps going down. Now we contribute less. They've asked for less, so they're not targeting as many people as they had before, but they have some really good programs that they do. Susan Seif from CARE is here in the audience, and CARE is one of the contributors to this project. They contract with MRS to provide some of that job readiness training. So really specific to if you're in early recovery, what are some of the things you might need to focus on to make you successful in your employment? A lot of the population for both of these reports, they said, is the follow through on the participants. And so maybe looking, maybe we can discuss ways to have shorter programming if people won't stay along, as long as the program is right now. Maybe just brainstorm different ways to try and get more people through completion.
Thanks, Helen. Are there any comments or questions, Donna?
I just wondered about the referral process. I mean, are they self-referred, or does a case manager or therapist refer them to the programs, or how do they become aware of the programs?
So both occur. We really focus on case managers referring a lot. If in the report, you'll see they had quite an increase in that in this past year. There were a lot more case managers referring to the program than in previous years. So that was a very positive thing. And the same on the substance use side, the programs will refer. And so they'll come, somebody from MRS will come to different meetings where the programs are at and kind of, again, reintroduce the program, remind people that it's out there, and, encourage people to help their individuals apply. So people can come to them directly, and they'll identify them if they have a mental health or substance use issue, and kind of learn if they're, also one of ours to work with. But a lot, they're looking on getting referrals from within the system, because that helps them understand better a lot of the services that they're already getting and receiving, what their needs might be.
Can I just add? When the meetings come out too, that he did discussions with, we plan on having them do it again. They then provided us kind of like a fact sheet information, and it's on our staff intranet page. So just to kind of refresh staff's memory.
Shrita.
Does the person have to be a Medicaid recipient to be a part of the program?
It's not my understanding that they do. I mean, primarily, a lot of the individuals we serve are Medicaid. So MRS, through this project, they're looking for our shared joint individuals. Separate from us, it's anybody with a disability. And so if you have a disability and you need employment skills to, get reemployed, they do a lot of assistance that way. They'll help with education, if it's vocational training that you need. Maybe you need money to buy your uniform to go to work, or some tools. Maybe you need help with transportation. There's a lot of different varieties of ways that they help, but you do have to have a disability. And so that's kind of one of their key
People
things.
finish degrees. We have staff members who needed hearing aids, and even though they have insurance, there was part that wasn't covered, right? And they made a decent living. It wasn't due to income, but it did allow them to sustain employment, right? Therefore, they were able to assist, because their key goal is not actually income based. It's about employment. So obtaining employment or sustaining employment.
Right, and they're more the career type approach, like a real a livable wage kind of work. So kind of, you could go to Michigan Unemployment and get job searches. This is more, how do we get you prepared to stay in the workforce and actually support yourself?
Thanks, Shrita. Any other questions? Helen, the only question I had is for the successful employment outcomes. I guess, what's the benchmark for that? So somebody applies and then gets a job. Like, is it they're hired? Is it they're on for 6 months or a certain period of time? What does that marker.
I don't know the length of time, but I know it's beyond hire. I know it's sustaining the job, but I don't know for what period of time.
Okay. Thanks, Helen.
Yeah. Because they don't leave the case once you get the job. They do some follow-up to make sure you're maintaining
Okay.
the role.
Thank you. Okay, I see no other questions. The next item, C, we will not have a speaker on this, but we did approve them last month. It's literally just a list of the fiscal year 26 grants for you all to see in one place. Are there any other comments or questions before we vote? Okay, seeing and hearing none, we have a motion to receive and file. All in favor, say aye. 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 All opposed? Motion is approved. Item 9, resolutions. We have no resolutions tonight. Number 10 is the voucher listings. I'll take a motion to pay the bills.
Support.
Motion from Antoinette, support from Lori. Questions, comments on the bills? Everybody's read through every single line. We're good to go. All in favor, say aye. Aye. All opposed? Bills are paid. Now we'll move on to the CFO update with Ken and Tony.
All right, good evening again. August financial statement should be in your packet. Looking at page 2, the trend graph. We've been looking at the eligibles, still trying to do some analysis on that, just by way of an update. We've been trending down on our eligibles month to month. Put that in perspective, or a couple things to point out. As we look at the 3 populations, whether it be DAB, HMP, or TANF, we're seeing the biggest decrease in the HMP population at the moment. And to put in perspective, in August, from July to August, no, how am I doing this? Yeah, from July to August, that was a 3.7% decrease in eligibles in that bucket, and a 2.5% decrease in TANF, 1.4% in DAB. So overall, I looked at where our eligibles were in October when we started the year and where we are through August, and we're at about a 7% decrease. So that's an area that, we're watching that. I grabbed a report from the Health Management Association to see just overall what's the enrollment look like in the Medicaid HMOs, and I compared the same time periods. In that bucket, there's about a 2.6% decrease, so we're running at about 7%. So again, we don't have the why just yet, but it is an area that we're trying to do some further analysis to understand what might be happening there. Unless there are any questions, there's really no change in any of the following graphs in terms of our assets and our liabilities or the revenue and expense. So I'll just pause for a second unless there are any questions.
Don't see any. Go ahead, Tony.
All right, looking at our revenue and expense by fund, we're on page 5. So just a few things to point out there. Pretty consistent with the year. If you look at the Medicaid surplus on the actual 2025 column, we're at about 18.5 million. Looking at the Healthy Michigan, again, a surplus there, about 9.2. But I do want to call your attention to the CCBHC Medicaid. In this month, we're actually reporting a deficit, if you see the 3.9 million. So our expenses are a bit higher, but our revenue is lower. So we've been expecting a change with the shift with the 3 CCBHCs. We're starting to see that shift now. So this will be an area that we're going to look at a little closer and analyze as we continue to understand what the impact is with the changeover with the new CCBHCs. And then go ahead, Ken.
I was just going to add to this, this is a change from the prior month where the 3 new CCBHCs used to be DCOs. The DCOs provided a lower cost service, but we were still able to draw down the PPS for those days, so that activity is rolled off, hence the loss here. So we have broached the subject with the state and continue to, this change materially impacts our CCBHC cost report, which drives our PPS 1 rate. Because we were in what they call cohort 1, we were one of the first to go, right? We've kind of locked in our PPS 1 rate over the years. So there's no accounting for these big swings, right? There's always going to be something, but you kind of go with that. But this is a big change. So that's the reason we're seeing the loss there. I do want to highlight though that even though the program, even if it does show a loss and our PPS one is leveled off as it pertains to that, we got a $2.6 million quality bonus as part of this program that's not recognized in this. Roughly $4 million if you add them together. So it's still a good program for people. We still have dollars flowing into it. And these numbers aren't final either. We continue to have, encounter reporting issues and other things with the state. So as we move into the end of the fiscal year here, we'll be able to firm that up more. But I do expect that we'll have a loss. And even when we budgeted this at the beginning of the year, that was expected, as you can see on this page. So I just wanted to add some more context to what's going on with CCBHC.
Okay. And then similar impact, but just at a smaller amount on the Healthy Michigan piece at the 70,000. No change in the risk reserves. And there is going to be a new analysis completed, I think by December, Ken? Is that what we're targeted for the ISF
Yeah, it was
analysis?
actually one of the A through Ds that was approved. So our ISF analysis, we've got the actuaries queued up to do that. Once we have signed agreement after this, then we have our risk management strategy report, which is due in December. It's kind of our first report of fiscal 26, and we need it for that. So once we have that in hand, we can update the group on what that number looks like and what we're going to report in the risk management strategy.
Okay. Turning over to page 6, just looking at the CCBHC non-Medicaid, very similar. We're watching our expenses there from the general fund, trending at about the same pace. So we're at 3.8 million. That's been around 350,000 a month in the most recent months. So it hasn't increased, but the amount of increase, it has increased, but not more than what we've been seeing month to month. And the final piece is just on the all other. We're currently reporting a surplus 21 million. As we talked about before, there's a lot of investment income in there. And there's always another piece that I always forget. That's where help me out here, Ken, since you're saying, what's the other big piece that goes into our state all other? I'm
Yeah,
sorry.
we got PA2 in there.
PA2.
It's kind of a catch-all. There's any interest revenue. We have the county's allocation as part of that. Just kind of a number of other things, any miscellaneous revenue we have from third-party billings that aren't attributed to CCBHC or those folks go down in there. Our CCBHC quality payment would be down in there, so, yeah.
Okay. Any questions on that report?
I don't see any.
I have a couple of, I call them narrative type items that to update the group. CCBHC direct pay is live. We've been talking about that for a while, where the state made the decision to bypass the PIHPs and pay the CCBHCs directly. Obviously, we're a CCBHC, but also have 3 others in our county, so that activity for the other 3 is no longer flowing through here. We're doing everything we can to get this set up and going. Our billing manager is, I think, doing 4 or 5 of these statewide. So everything's being done that can be done to get that up and build. There's a lot of nuance to it, a lot of problems with it still. We're fortunate that cash flow is not an issue. So as you know, the billing issues will be sorted out, will be paid. But just wanted to give an update there. I think we'll probably be in a position to send a batch probably at the end of the month for October services, with ideally more frequency than that. Actually, on a weekly basis, we'll probably be billing these. We've gone from our billing department handling probably a little over $1 million annually in like first and third. You know, if we bill folks for their ability to pay, or Blue Cross or pick a payer, kind of minor in the grand scheme of our budget, has now thrust into all of our CCBHC dollars going through champs at the state level. So it's a heavy lift for the finance team right now and what we have going on there. But that's what's going on with CCBHC direct pay. Next month, we have the interim FSR and the September financials. That'll be the first look at how we might end the year. So we have a lot of efforts around that. Additionally, we have an EQI, an Encounter Quality Initiative report. For those that aren't familiar, it's basically a listing of all of our service codes and what we spent per unit and in the aggregate on each one of those service codes. So those are big lifts for our team as well. Update on audits. There's a meeting with the state last week about audit status and where we stand. There are 2 reports that we cannot file until the county issues their ACFR, which is the Annual Comprehensive Financial Report. The goal is that they will have that done by 10/31, so just in a few days here. Once that's done, our medical loss ratio report, which basically boils down to how much we spend on service versus admin, we can finish that. And then our compliance exam report as well that looks at a number of things, how we spent our money mostly, and did we fill out our FSR correctly and that kind of thing. So we're working to finalize those. And then both the 23 and 24 single audits, which are largely out of our hands, but do impact us as we have grants as part of that effort, are targeted for 12/31 submission for both 23 and 24 single audits. Last thing I had was just an update on the ISF. We haven't had much activity as it pertains to that and our ongoing dispute with how that's calculated and that sort of thing. So, Drew, I don't know if you've gotten anything outside of what I would have seen, but not a ton of activity there, but I figured I'd update the group in case anybody was wondering. So, that's all I had.
Thank you both. Nick?
Yeah, on the CCBHC change, how is this, I believe I read or heard from Tracy that the non-CMH CCBHCs were going to be paid on a fee-for-service basis directly?
They are, and we are as well now.
Oh, and we're paid
Yeah.
on a fee-for-service basis. Okay. And then it all comes out of the capitation?
Yeah, so what the state did is, it was one of the things that made it really hard to budget, actually, and the state took, I want to say it was $42 or $43 million out of our capitation, basically held onto it themselves so that they could use that to pay all the CCBHCs, including ourselves. So we're kind of getting some of that back in a way, but I happen to think that they took too much when they did it. I had a question into them, still do. I haven't heard a response.
Okay, thank you.
Just want to add that everyone had a question how much they took. It wasn't a Macomb question, just to be clear.
Oh yeah, I think
Everybody
region
thought
in
it
the
was
state
almost double what it
was
should
like a
have been.
2 times clip for every region in the state. I think that many of them may have. We also kind of lost in the bigger revenue picture as well. So we, outside of the CCBHC, we had a roughly 7% decrease on top of the CCBHC issue. Many of the other regions had big gains, so I'm not sure that they were going to fight the CCBHC issue as we may have, or are.
Donna?
I won't use this. Just so I understand, on this 43 million that they took, is that like in a little separate pot of money? Or is it just blended in with, no, you're shaking your head?
Not to my knowledge. I don't know how the state necessarily accounts for all their different fundings.
That's not like in a separate CCBHC pot?
A separate,
Or Macomb? No.
no, I wouldn't think so. I think it's probably a CCBHC, just an appropriation line, if you will, and it's part of that. The state had chose, which I don't know that they necessarily had to, but it was the way they implemented it, to break it into the base or the capitated, and then the supplementals, kind of the other part of it. They go together to make the total daily rate, but that
Is it CCBHC designated money?
Yes. To my understanding, yes.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Thanks, Donna. Any other questions for Ken and Tony? Okay. Thank you both.
Thank you.
Now I'll go to the CEO update with Tracy.
Some of these are very quick announcements. Almost everything I'm going to tell you is in the board report that you received this morning. So again, I'll only do it at a very high level, but if it's not in the board report, I'll specifically state that. So this is not in the board report, but we're just drawing your attention to it. Easter Seals doesn't currently have a signed contract. We do have the ability to extend it, so that's what we are working with them on for a period of time until we get to a resolution, and it has to do with some negotiations related to language in the agreement. The other one is tomorrow. I know you know this, but I'm going to tell you again. Tomorrow at 6 p.m. at the administration location. I think Jackie's coming at least. Do you notice I'm trying to guilt her into, yep. Is our family fall fun event. I don't remember if that's the order of the F's, but either way, it's tomorrow at 6 p.m. If you don't know about it, we do a trunk or treat. This is anybody. It's really for the staff, but they invite family, friends, neighbors. We invite the CAC. We invite partners. Anybody is welcome. After the trunk or treat, we then do awards. We call it the Smiley Awards, and then we do a site award, and we also do our core value awards. Then we have the drive-in movie. Just as a friendly reminder, you're welcome to come to any of them. Like in other words, you don't have to stay for the whole thing. You can come just for the trunk or treat. Trunk or treat is done by around 6:30, 6:40. The event is done around 8:30 by the time they watch the movie. The movie that was voted on and selected is Hotel Transylvania. So if you haven't seen it, and if if it's raining, please still come, because the drive-in movie has like radio, on your car, you can go to the radio, right? Like you can be sitting in your car and still watching the movie. Other quick things are in front of you. This was not put in your board report because I forgot. This is the ribbon cutting. It is in front of you though. It's the ribbon cutting for the SUD Engagement Center. I'm sure we know we're all very excited about it. Susan's welcome to add anything if we've missed anything later, but essentially this is your invite that you would have also already received in the email. November 5th at 9 p.m. We have currently, oh, did I say p.m.? Yes, definitely a.m., sorry. Right? Like I could fit that, right? I could fit that in. I think we have, as of today, like maybe 27, not counting our own staff, who are attending. We've invited local officials. I think we have a local representative coming. The Board of Commissioners, I'm forgetting, but anybody that we thought might be interested in the subject. Let's see. Other things is, if you're interested, Friday morning at 7:40, I will be on WDIV TV doing a little 3-minute women's mental health wellness. It's because I have the privilege of being a part of a group who's doing a Women's in Leadership series for the Macomb County Chamber. If you're not familiar with that event, it's on social media, but if you would like to, again, it's a great event also. And then I did a podcast earlier this week with, we'll share it with you guys once it's out. I was not the only guest. I was on a couch with several other people, again, talking about that same subject, women's mental health wellness, and kind of what's happening in our society and what you can do in order to help. Other things is, if you didn't see it, I'm just making sure you do. There was a beautiful article by Executive Hackle in the Macomb Daily about our current situation directly related to the PHP procurement. There's also a great article on the front page on Sunday about the use of opioid dollars and kind of the countywide solution. And it, of course, talked about, part of it was the engagement center. It had the picture up right in front of the engagement center if you haven't seen it yet. Every month we try to do at the full board meeting, board education, right? In addition to the many other handouts and materials that we give. So in front of you and in your board report electronically, you have this, and it's understanding opiates. And this is where I'm going to turn over this subject to Helen. So she's going to present. And again, the motive of this is to educate you. So when you are in the community, you have a better understanding of what we do, how you can help. If someone's asking you, you're better versed in that. And I have extra copies for anybody who might want to take them.
Thank you. Yeah, so the brochure really is just to kind of explain to individuals what opiates are, because we kind of know of opiates in many different ways. So opiates could be medication prescribed by your doctor for pain or other symptom relief, or it could be an illicit substance. We hear a lot about heroin. Nowadays, really, heroin isn't heroin. A lot of people refer to it as heroin still, but it's really fentanyl. And so some things are a naturally occurring opiate, some are a synthetic opiate, but either way, we kind of lump them all together under opiates because they have the same effect on the body, right? They can reduce pain, they can relax you. The problem is at too high a doses, they can be deadly. And we also know for many individuals, they become addictive and very quickly because of the opiate receptors in the brain. And so there's a lot of danger, people using opiates that start to form an addiction to them. Most opiates will release very quickly within the body. Within a few hours, their half-life is kicking in, and so the effects are going down, and so now withdrawal can go into effect. And so there's this kind of vicious cycle of needing to take more, right, to avoid that negative withdrawal feeling that they're experiencing. So what we do, we have a variety of treatment programs, everything from withdrawal management, or some people know as detoxification, to residential treatment, intensive outpatient and outpatient services. We also provide different medication-assisted treatment options, whether it be methadone, Suboxone, or Vivitrol. Those are prescribed legal medications that help calm the brain, keep that opiate receptor even, so that people don't feel intoxicated, but they also don't feel the withdrawal effects as well. And so we have a lot of different interventions and treatments that we do. We have many recovery services as well that help focus on that. We do some education for the community as well. I think some of you board members who have been around for a while, our previous board member had done a naloxone or Narcan education with you. So we do that. Some of our providers do that on our behalf for us. And so we distribute Narcan, which is the overdose reversal medication. So if you get to somebody in time that's experiencing an overdose, it can kick those opiates off the receptor site, allow the person to breathe again and gain consciousness, and then to seek medical attention. So we have those that we distribute, but we do a whole education on what are opiates and how do you tell the signs and symptoms, what do you do in an emergency. So that's a real community-wide event that we have available. And then we also distribute those to our treatment programs. We have certain boxes you might have been around where we talked about before, and agencies and public places put those out, and then some of our providers go around for us and help fill those and refill those with the Narcan, so that, you know, as people come in the community and take them, they're, you know, we provide them at free of cost. We're able to get that from the state, who uses some of their opioid dollars and grant dollars to fund that statewide. And so that's one of the approaches that we use as well, along with many other things. But this is a nice handy brochure. If people want to know what they are, you know, because you might be prescribed an opiate, a family member might be prescribed an opiate, they do have their place. It's just very important that they're taken sparingly when they're not in use, that they're disposed of properly, because we want to keep them out of the hands of people who may misuse them and experience difficulties or issues. So that's just a real quick overview on some of our information on opioids. Any questions?
Don't see any.
So I just have two more quick things, if that's okay, Phil. One, most of you have heard my spiel about this, but if you haven't, for there's a few of you who haven't, if you've already heard it, just go somewhere else for a hot second. So in front of you all who haven't seen it, this is our impact report. We are very proud of it. If you aren't picking up on that, hence why you keep on hearing about it. You do have access to it electronically, both on our website and in a past workforce update. But in there, basically, it highlights at a very, very high visual level about the services that we provide throughout the community and the many partnerships to making sure we're honoring all of those. It has your beautiful board chair picture and letter in there also. If you haven't seen it. So I would encourage, if you haven't checked it out, please check it out. If you have not signed the copy that I'm holding up, that sounds like a foreign subject to you, Tina? just see me after, because we would love to create an environment in which all parties contributing to this, we can have it in our conference room and reflect back on it in future years and have future versions of that. One of the things or the areas of improvement of our system entirely is we do hard work and we do hard things, and our providers do good work and hard things. We don't often have the funding and the time to celebrate. So please take a minute to check this out so you at least are familiar with all the good work that does get accomplished on a daily basis in our community. The last thing I will tell you, I wish I should have flipped these, and this should have been my last because this is good news. The bad news I have to bring you is MDHS is removing the funding for anybody who is on Healthy Michigan who are in need of skill building and supported employment beginning October 1st. So what does that mean for the people we serve, and what does that mean for us as an organization? What that means is we will start to work with the individuals who have that or in that situation. We will try to see if there's other avenues for them. Can they get on a waiver? Like, how can we try to assist them to maybe not be under the Healthy Michigan plan? If that does not happen, there is a period of time that is required for us to transition that person. And I just want to acknowledge that although it's required, we of course will do that anyway, right? In other words, we have to do it for a minimum of 60 days, but we will try to do is for the entire period, and we'll try to come up as many solutions as possible. But I am drawing your attention to that because we are concerned. And what I mean by that is the state of Michigan, to be fair to them, has less money this year, right? Where they're going to start cutting back is things that are like non-essential. And please I don't want to discredit the great things that happen with supportive employment and skill building because they're amazing. But it is technically not a full required area. Therefore, they're going to start with those, and they're also, of course, going to start with Healthy Michigan, because just as a friendly reminder, Healthy Michigan is just a Medicaid expansion. What that means is if you aren't eligible in the traditional federal level income levels, the state of Michigan has chosen to do an expansion, so more people can be eligible. Well, the federal government is changing that match for the state of Michigan. They're reducing the match the federal government is giving them, therefore they have less money. Therefore, if they have less money, here's where we find ourselves. I walk you through that, one, in case you're not aware of that dynamic, but I also walk you through that is we're concerned that this path will continue. So although I am telling you we will do everything in our power, and we will, to find alternative solutions, we're also trying to figure out if we do it with this, it's the next, and the next, and the next. Does that make sense? So we are trying to be the smartest we can about this as we move forward. But it is the direction that we also expected that would start to begin to happen. Do we know how many people? I don't have a total number. We're still struggling with some reporting stuff. I think Ken correct me, but I think from a financial perspective, at a quick glance, it was 200, 300. But again, that's not quite. There's some technology challenges with pulling the right data.
At least 300,000.
Money-wise, and then people-wise, it's, yeah.
I know that was one of the takeaways from our analysis. So the cost is there, but the number of people, I'm not sure.
We're still looking at that and still trying to pull it. If it's helpful, it started October 1st. It was mentioned in bypassing in a comment in a meeting, and then redlined in the HIPAA code, which is like a book that basically says here's what you can bill and here's how you bill it. So our attention was drawn to it this week. No, because skill building you go, not every day, but most go 5 days a week, right? So then therefore the cost is actually on a little bit higher end, if that makes sense. So $300,000 is a lot of money, but it's not going to be 300 people, if that makes sense. Okay. Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Nick?
I caught part of what you were saying on the FMAP, and I just wanted to get some clarification. The Medicaid FMAP, we've been running at about 65% for the state for the last few years. The Healthy Michigan reimbursement rate has been 90%. Have they actually implemented a change in that? I know there's a proposal to change that, but I don't know that it's been implemented.
Yeah, so it's been proposed. You are correct. We're making assumptions that the state is going this direction because they have to start making up the money now.
Okay, but that's a federal government decision.
Correct.
So I've heard a lot of people talking about reducing the Healthy Michigan FMAP and, or reimbursement rate. And that is a huge problem, but it hasn't been done yet. I mean, obviously you want to hope for the best and plan for the worst. I'm not objecting to that. I just wanted to make sure it hadn't happened yet, and that's
It
something we
hasn't
should
happened,
have.
but the state of Michigan is starting to reduce the available services to individuals who are on the Healthy Michigan plan.
Oh, so they're assuming it's coming.
I don't know what they're, and we don't know the reason. We just know, we were told on October 1st this week that you no longer can be under
There-
the Healthy Michigan
The,
plan.
the bigger concern I have, and I haven't found it, but maybe Drew has, I mentioned it before, is when Healthy Michigan was originally established, there was a provision in the changes to the Social Services Act, that's where it would be, that said if the state cost exceeded a certain percentage, I don't know that it was the 90%, but that the program would we simply would cease being an expansion state. I'm concerned as to whether or not the type of change in reimbursement rate, if it took it all the way down to the 65% range or the same as the FMAP rate, would trigger that. Drew?
I don't know off the top of my head.
Yeah, can you make a mental note and see if you can find out? Because that, and it may, and quite frankly, that was at the beginning of the Healthy Michigan program. That was Senator Shirkey cut the deal with the governor, and we got it, which was questionable at the time whether we were going to be able to have a Medicaid expansion at all. So that was one of the compromises. The question, they may have taken it out since then, I don't know. But I think we need to check on that because we could lose the entire Healthy Michigan program if the reimbursement rate goes too low, unless that provision has been amended.
Thanks, Nick. Were you all set? Did all your items? Does anybody have any questions for Tracy? Okay. We'll move on to other possible agenda items. We have a couple of reminders. Program and budget is here Wednesday, November 12th at 6 p.m. Full board is going to be Tuesday, November 25th at 6 p.m. here. The holidays are coming, so we may be dancing around with different days, but for November, it'll be Tuesday, November 25th. Any other comments from board members? Antoinette, go ahead.
Two things. I did not write them down because I said I was going to remember. Yesterday, I went to the Mount Clemens City Commission meeting. It's coming back to me, guys, slowly but surely. And I did offer them to contact Tracy to just talk about partnering with us. I mean, they have, it was listed that Mount Clemens did not become a part of the opioid settlement, but they did. And last time they gave their funds to FAN, which fine. But if they have a specific need that does not meet the criteria that FAN is doing, it's like, why don't you ask for help? And they all seemed very surprised of that suggestion, but love the idea. So hopefully, if the mayor does not contact you, I would love to just like put together an email just connecting you both, because there is a need for some collaboration, especially if they are willing to, put out their settlement money for help. And then after that meeting, I spoke with Deputy Scott. He said that him and his team recently did the training, the
CIT?
thank you. So, and he was very surprised of how much he learned, how everyone was so like involved with the training. And he said it was probably one of the best trainings that he sat through, and just really said everyone did a great job. And they they were just pleasantly surprised because, sitting there for so long, a lot of people will doze off. But he said everyone had their eyes were wide open, asking questions, wanting to know more. So he just said, great job to the team. That's it.
Thank you. Anybody else? Okay, we'll move on to provider comments. Any providers in the audience wishing to speak? All right. Hearing of the public. Anybody from the public wishing to speak? All right. With that, we will move on to item 15, which is closed session. I will take a motion to discuss attorney-client privilege memo dated 10/22/25 pursuant to MCL 15.2681H.
So move. Support.
Motion from Megan, support from Dana, and I have to take a roll call vote, so I will start with Megan.
Yes.
Selena. Lori. Donna. Jackie. Wayne.
Yes.
Nick.
Yes.
Sharita. Antoinette. Dana. Me. Yes. All right. We will now be going into closed session. Dana's support from Nick. All in favor? Aye. All opposed? We're adjourned. See everybody at Program and Budget. Have a good Halloween.